Good evening, one and all. We welcome you to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, sustainable development 2022, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
The blessings of Almighty, we shall continue to today's session. Today, it's one of the important commemoration. It's Human Rights Day as well as International Animal Rights Day. As we all know, animals existed even before humans existed. So animals are the oldest species on the planet. And this planet does not just belong to human beings, but it also belongs to various flora and fauna, that is plants, animals, birds, and human beings are just one of the 8.4 billion species. But we are ruling and destroying the planet and have become a great reason or cause for the destruction and extinction of many species. So various rights, animal rights, plant rights, or for that matter, various species rights are being violated by human beings as such. We are only concerned at the human rights as we being the human beings, but at the same time, we also need to understand that we are violating the rights of other species on the planet. So let's look at it, various aspects of today's commemoration, as all these are equally important for coexisting, and we are dependent on the planet and other animals for maintaining the ecosystems. So let's look at the first commemoration of the day. It's Human Rights Day, 10th December. This year, the theme is for 2022 dignity, freedom, and justice for all. Human Rights. Human Rights Day is observed every year on 10th December. The day the United Nations General Assembly adopted in 1948 the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR. The UDHR is a milestone document which proclaims the inalienable rights that everyone is entitled to as a human being, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status, available in more than 500 languages. It is the most translated document in the world. So this year is also 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this is an year-long campaign to promote and recognize the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So the UDHR enshrines the rights for all human beings, from the right to education to equal pay. UDHR established for the first time the indivisible and inalienable rights of all humanity as a common standard of achievement for all people and all nations. The UDHR is a global blueprint for international, national, and local laws and policies, and a bedrock of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development explicitly recognizes it is grounded in UDHR and has to be implemented in a manner that realizes the human. The UDHR has inspired many struggles for stronger human rights protection and helped them to be more recognized. In the nearly 75 years since the proclamation of the UDHR, human rights have advanced. However, progress does not mean the fight for rights and equality ever ends. Whenever and wherever humanity values are abandoned and we are all at greater risk, the solution to today's greatest crisis are rooted in human rights. Rights violation reverberate across borders and across generations, and these can be and must be collectively overcome. We need to stand up for our rights and those of others. The UDHR calls upon every day to stand upon for the human rights. We all have a role to play. We need an economy that invests in human rights and works for everyone. We need to renew the social contract between governments and their people and within societies so as to rebuild trust and embrace a shared and comprehensive vision of human rights on the road to a just and sustainable development. UN exhibits on human rights explore the works of talented amateur and professional photographers from exhibitions for the general public that have been showcased over years at the United Nations headquarters. Some of the human rights topics covered are indigenous people's rights, the Nazi genocide of the Roma and Sinti, sexual violence in conflict, and the plight of Palestinian people, and many more. Fight inequality, fight racism. Racism, xenophobia, and related discrimination and intolerance exist in all societies everywhere. Racism harms not just the lives of those who endure it, but also society as a whole. We all lose in a society characterized by discrimination, division, distrust, intolerance, and hate. The fight against racism is everyone's fight. We all have to play a part in building a world beyond racism. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights holds the Guinness record as the most translated document. Yet, far too many people are still unaware of their basic rights as human beings. So, know your rights. Drafted by representatives of diverse legal and cultural backgrounds from all regions of the world, the Declaration sets out universal values and a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. It establishes the equal dignity and worth of every person thanks to the Declaration and states' commitments to its principles. The dignity of millions have been uplifted and the foundation for a more just world has been laid. While its promise is yet to be fully realized, the very fact that it has stood the test of time is testament to the enduring universality of its perennial values of equality, justice, and human dignity. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights empowers us all. The principles enshrined in the Declaration are as relevant today as they were in 1940. We need to stand up for our own rights and those of others. We can take action in our own daily lives to uphold the rights that protect us all and thereby promote the kinship of human beings. Human rights are everyone's rights. Know your rights and help to spread the word. So stand up for human rights. Let's watch a short video.
Let us, as members of the United Nations, conscious of our own shortcomings and imperfections, join our effort in good faith to live up to this high standard.
Todos os seres humanos podem invocar os direitos e as liberdades proclamados na presente declaração, sem distinção alguma.
Everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages.
Todos son iguales ante la ley y tienen sin distinción derecho a igual protección de la ley.
Брак может быть заключен только при свободном и полном согласии обеих вступающих в брак сторон.
Tout individu a droit à une nationalité. Nul ne peut être arbitrairement privé de sa nationalité, ni du droit à changer de nationalité.
凡受刑事控告者，在未经获得辩护上所需的一切保证的公开审判而依法证实有罪以前，有权被视为无罪。
لكل فرد الحق في الحياة والحرية وسلامة شخصه.
प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को विचार और इसकी अभिव्यक्ति की स्वतंत्रता का अधिकार है.
Watu wote wamezaliwa huru, hadhi na haki zao ni sawa. Wote wamejaliwa akili na dhamiri, hivyo yapaswa watendeane kindugu.
Women has played a significant role in shaping the Universal Declaration. Eleanor Roosevelt's leading role person as chairperson of the drafting committee of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has been well documented, but other women also played essential parts in shaping the document. Some of them and their contributions to the inclusion of women rights in the Universal Declaration are featured
Universal Declaration of Human Rights may well become the international Magna Carta of all men everywhere.
After the Second World War and the Great Economic Depression, there was a spirit to think, what can we do to ensure that this kind of situations will never happen again?
Because of her travels during the war in England, during the Blitz in the Pacific, while the Pacific is being bombed, her connection to the people of the world is so complete. After FDR dies, there are many efforts to get Eleanor Roosevelt to run for the Senate, and there's even some thought that maybe she should run for vice president. The one position she is excited about, that she accepts, is when Harry Truman offers her a membership in the delegation, the U.S. delegation, to the United Nations. It was such an opportunity to build a movement for peace and for human rights. She was very aware of being almost ostracized by the men, not part of their conversations. And the irony is, when she is asked to go into the committee that writes the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, they think that's going to be a social committee of no interest, but it then becomes one of the most important committees.
Eleanor Roosevelt, being a woman who was very strong with democratic ideas, and she was really key on the draft of the Declaration of Human Rights.
I now open the meeting of the drafting committee of the Commission on Human Rights.
One other person that was such a big influence on Eleanor Roosevelt was India's Hansa Mehta. For the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it was Hansa Mehta who said, "Excuse me, Mrs. Roosevelt, if you say all men are created free and equal, around the world it will be all men, women not included." And so the words were changed to all human beings. That small change has had a tremendous impact. Women will be included everywhere. All human beings, men and women and children, have these rights.
It says that these rights of the people are not because you are from some geographical region, because you have from some culture or some religion. It's just because we are human beings, just because we exist, that we are entitled to those rights.
The real change which must give to people throughout the world their human rights must come about in the hearts of people.
Their ability to work together, to negotiate across all their differences, is really what made the creation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights possible.
It is a declaration of basic principles of human rights and freedoms, and to serve as a common standard of achievement for all peoples of all nations.
And it's particularly fitting that here tonight, the person who's been the leader in this movement, assisted though she has been by many others. I refer, of course, to Mrs. Roosevelt, the delegate of the United States.
It's one of the most significant moments in world history. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is the beacon for the future.
We will ensure that this Universal Declaration will be the light that shines and will guide how we relate to each other.
If we observe these rights for ourselves and for others, I think we will find that it is easier in the world to build peace.
So that's how the women also played a significant role in promoting gender equality and in Universal Declaration of Human Rights at UN by providing and replacing the word men with all human beings and stand up for the human rights, as already mentioned, on this Human Rights Day, commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, get inspired. Every year on 10th December, the world celebrates Human Rights Day, the very day when 1948 the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This So the UDHR consists of a preamble and 30 articles that set out a broad range of fundamental human rights and freedoms to which all of us everywhere around the world are entitled. It guarantees our rights without distinction of nationality, place of residence, gender, national or ethnic origin, religion, language, or any other status. The 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights will be celebrated on 10th December 2023, ahead of the milestone celebration starting on this year's Human Rights Day on 10th December 2022, a year-long campaign to showcase the UDHR by focusing on its legacy, relevance, and activism was launched. Today, this year, Human Rights Day slogan is dignity, freedom, and justice for all. And the call to action is stand up for human rights. In its preamble, the UDHR highlighted the recognition of inherent dignity and of equal and inalienable rights of all members of the society, human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Our hope is to increase knowledge of the UDHR as a foundational blueprint for taking concrete actions to stand up for human rights and tackle pressing global issues. Reflecting on the progress and renewing commitments to gender equality, In the 75 years since drafting of the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, UDHR, women's rights have been vastly improved. However, today rollbacks and backslashes against women's rights have ramped up. For activists and human rights defenders now more than ever in the time to use the promise inherent in the UDHR to advance women's rights and gender equality. The Universal Declaration, a catalyst for environmental human rights action. In perspective of climate change, since its adoption nearly 75 years ago, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has inspired the climate justice movement and the push for universal recognition of the right to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. Designing transformative solutions for disability inclusions on the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, 3rd December, and in lead up to the Human Rights Day, we highlight the work of Keely Catwells, an advocate promoting gender disability representation, inclusion and support in the entertainment and creative industries.
The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a miraculous text. At a time when the world emerged from cataclysmic events, the Declaration sets out universal rights and recognized the equal worth of every person. The Declaration, which was drafted by representatives from all over the world, embodies a common language of our shared humanity, a unifying force at the heart of which lies human dignity and the duty of care we owe each other as human beings. In the past 74 years, the importance of universal, indivisible, and inalienable rights has only become clearer. Yet, there is a growing disconnect between the standards on the one hand and the realities on the ground on the other. Even as the 30 articles of the Declaration have sparked transformation in all areas of our lives, the embers of racism, misogyny, inequality, and hatred continue to threaten our world. We face a triple planetary crisis and skyrocketing inequalities exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. And we are grappling with a rise in populist politics and authoritarianism, a deluge of misinformation both online and offline, and an alarming spread of conflict and violence. All of these factors are impeding our progress towards a freer and more equal world. In 2023, we will commemorate the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is also the 30th anniversary of the Vienna Declaration and Programme of Action, which paved the way for the creation of my position, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, and my office. This coming anniversary year will be our opportunity to recall the consensus envisaged by the Declaration to reset and to strengthen the remarkable human rights architecture that we have built over the years. With an eye to the past as well as to the future, I hope that the UDHR 75 initiative, which will be led by my office together with our partners, will allow us to rekindle the spirit, the impulse, the energy, and the vitality that led to the Declaration 75 years ago. The language and spirit of the Declaration have the potential to overcome division, and polarization. It can make peace with nature, our planet, with each other, and point the way to sustainable development for future generations. The light of the Declaration can shine in the daily lives of individuals, in communities all over the world, in their neighborhoods, in schools, offices, and on the streets. But this requires our generation, including young people, to give the Declaration new life, to take ownership of it, and to repurpose it to meet the needs of our times and the challenges of our future. In 2023, I invite everyone all over the world to take up the torch for human rights and use these rights to forge a common future of dignity, freedom, and justice for all.
So on this day, get inspired by Human Rights Day 2022. We can learn from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The UDHR enshrines the rights of all human beings, drafted by representatives with different legal and cultural backgrounds from all regions of the world. The UDHR is a set of universal, indivisible, inalienable rights recognizing the equal dignity, worth of a person. The UDHR is a global blueprint for international, national, and local laws and policies, and a bedrock of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The UDHR fosters a sense of common humanity. Equality beyond individual differences has given rise to national, regional, and international laws and institutions to help realize all rights, economic, social, cultural, civil, and political. Article 2 is entitled to all rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration. The UDHR has inspired many struggles for stronger human rights protection and helped them to be more recognized. In the nearly 75 years since the proclamation of the UDHR, human rights have advanced. Improvements in the rights of women, children, and young people of indigenous people to guard and maintain their land and culture, the abolition of death penalty in many countries. All these efforts are anchored in human rights. But progress does not mean the fight for rights and equality ever ends, given the many remaining challenges and global backlash against human rights. The UDHR is more relevant than ever. Whenever and wherever humanity values are abundant, all are at risk. Solutions to today's greatest crises are rooted in human rights. So, human rights, when applied, act as a guardrails for policies and blueprint for concrete action towards development, peace, and security. Article 3, everyone has a right of life, liberty, and security of person. We need to stand up for our rights and those of others. The UDHR calls upon everybody to stand up for the human rights. We all have a role to play. We can support and learn from others in our efforts to realize greater freedom and equality for all. We need an economy that invests in human rights and works for everyone. In the true spirit of UDHR, we need to change economic approaches and models that have been produced untenable social cost, tearing apart the fabric of societies, fueling instability and resulting in ever experiencing inequalities. We need to renew social contract between governments and their people and within the society so as to build trust, rebuild trust, and embrace a shared and comprehensive wisdom of vision of human rights on the road to a just and sustainable development. So today, with this, we shall conclude the commemoration of International Human Rights Day. Then today is also International Animal Rights Day. As we all know, even before humans existed on this planet, animals were there since long years, even before human existence and survival. So let's commemorate, celebrate, and educate because this planet is not just ours, but theirs too. Established by the non-profit Our Planet Theirs Too in 2011, the national and international the National Animal Rights Day is the annual day and is observed in a growing number of countries around the world on the first Sunday for the purpose of giving a voice to all animals and raising awareness for their rights. It's Memorial and Independence Day for animals combined. The use and abuse of non-human animals is all prevalent, has been part of our daily lives since the dawn of humanity. We have gotten accustomed to relying on animals for almost everything we do. And while we raise our children on books, puppets, films, and television shows revolving around animal characters, we have devised well-oiled systems, unimaginable in their cruelty, to raise, kill, and use every part of the same real animals for all our needs: food, fashion, cosmetics, household products, medicines, manual labor, sports, and entertainment. In the year 2019, 150 billion animals were killed in slaughterhouses all around the world. In the United States alone, 15 billion land animals, 50 billion sea animals were killed for food. 15 million animals died in laboratories, 8 million were killed for their skin and fur, and 250 millions were killed by hunters, and that's more than 100 million living beings a day. And if these animals could freely talk, their cries would come from every farm, slaughterhouse, meat market, testing lab, breeding factory, fishing pond, hunting ground, circus, zoo, religious temple, pet store, city shelter, restaurant, and a dinner table in every home on every street. These individual beings who have a soul, a table in every home on every street, these individual beings who all have a soul, a unique character, and will live to live are just like us. They come in all shapes, colors, and sizes. And some of them have feathers, some of them have fur, some of them have paws, and some have tiny little legs. But they all share the very same thing we have in common too. They have the right to live with their offspring and families, happy and free. So International Animal Rights Day is today, the rights of our furry friends, and celebrated annually on International Animal Rights Day on December 10th, along with Human Rights Day, as it should be, because animals have the right to be treated with respect, and acts of cruelty against them need to be ended just as much as for humans. For hundreds of years, man has been killing and mistreating animals for personal gain, whether it is in the exploitation of meat or animal for the sake of fashion and art, and just the justification of clothes or various consumables. And that is done out of necessity has been really pushed. In 1948, the UN passed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights on December 10, following by the torture subjected to humans during World War II in concentration camps by Nazi Germany. After this, organizations, associations, and individuals from around the world started demanding that this declaration should be extended to the animal kingdom and that December 10 should be also a day for advocating the rights of animals. So, 22 years after the UN passed their historic disclaimer, the whole idea that animals are inferior and live for the sole purpose of catering to the needs and wants of humans is an irrational prejudice against them. So, just as certain sentiments of the human race are suffering due to sexism and racism, animals suffer just as much, if not more, because they can't defend themselves. Despite the coining of the term, it wasn't until 1998 when an official statement was passed for Uncaged, which is an animal protection organization, created International Animal Rights Day to shed light on all types of violence against animals. The founders behind this day stated that and teach your young children in your family to always be kind to animals. With the depiction of violence and viral videos on the rise in the mainstream media, it is a good idea to teach youngsters to never take the subject of animal abuse lightly. Switch to cruelty free lifestyle. This is probably something that cannot be done overnight, but you can start small by Today is also Nobel Prize Day. Nobel Prize Day falls on 10th December every year. It honors the achievements of Alfred Bernard Nobel, a Swedish engineer, chemist, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. The Nobel Prize that recognizes outstanding achievements on various fields. Alfred Nobel was born to impoverished parents in Stockholm, but his father was a descendant of a very highly regarded Swedish scientist and writer. Olof Rodbeck. His father was an engineer himself, and Alfred Nobel expressed early interest in engineering and his father was an engineer himself, and Alfred Nobel expressed early interest in an engineering and explosion. In particular, this of course bore results with Nobel becoming interested in stabilizing the dynamo. Despite one of his brothers dying in a tragic accident involving the pursuit, National continued his work in the not only will help you financing for research, but also the development of more advanced tools and ensure whales are protected from man-made activities. These are countless documentaries about the whale life and the dangers of whaling available to the stream. You can spend this day on your couch with your kids to educate them about the importance of saving these aquatic animals. So whaling is legal in Japan and Ireland, is now forbidden worldwide. Japan and Ireland still allow the activity in their territories. And it's legal when it's for scientific research. Since 1986, approximately 25,000 whales have been killed for scientific research. The blue whale is endangered. Today, the population of blue whales have reduced from 220,000 to 3,000 worldwide, and humpback whales rarely eat. The humpback whales feed off their fat and could last a year without eating. And the largest animal on earth, with the maximum height of 110 feet and a maximum weight of 330,000 pounds, the Antarctic blue whale is the biggest animal on the planet. So this day, it raises awareness of endangered species. The festivals for the souls of dead whales not only commemorates the lives of murdered whales, but also protects those still living. Their population is critically low, and raising awareness of these endangered species is a great way to educate people on why whaling is and should remain illegal. It's educational. Educate your kids young, introduce them to role of whales in balancing our aquatic ecosystem. Whales capture a significant amount of carbon in our atmosphere, playing a crucial role in halting climate change. Whales are mysterious, are the gentle giants of the great unknown. It's fascinating to learn about whales and how they navigate the deep mysteries of the ocean. With this, we shall conclude the commemoration of Festival for the Souls of the Dead Whales, December 10th, today. So with this, we shall conclude for this session today and commemorations. See you all tomorrow for the international conference. So before leaving, quickly fill up the feedback form. So tomorrow, thank you everyone for joining us today. So quickly fill up the feedback form before leaving. And tomorrow we have an international conference. International Conference on Volunteer Soil Conservation, Mountains, Aviation, Genocide, Crimes, Anti-Corruption, Victims, Human Rights and Animal Rights, Awareness, Prevention, Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development, 2022. We invite paper presentations and it's, as usual, it's free registration, participation and presentation along with collaboration. So whoever is interested, present your papers. You are free to register and present and let us know and share widely with your friends and colleagues so that they can use this wonderful opportunity to present their papers on various themes along with the regular theme of health, well-being and sustainable development. So we are sharing the the registration link as well for tomorrow's conference. You can share with your friends. It has been already shared in platforms. And if you haven't registered for today's webinar, like every day, I'm sharing the registration link for weekdays. It's same for every day, but you need to register each day. I'm sharing that link as well. If not registered, you can register even now after filling the feedback. So see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Take care. Good night. Dear friends, quickly fill up the feedback form before you leave the platform. See you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock for international conference. Take care. Good night.